Today we're going to actually continue with the scheduling technique, which is on the critical path method, CPM, which is on arrow diagram method, ADM, which is activity on arrow, and precedence diagram method, PDM, which is activity on nodes. The critical path method is actually the backbone, the graphical model of a project. So the basic component of the model is the arrow. So that's why you have just now the activity on arrow and activity on nodes. The arrow actually connects and show logic of activity sequence. Okay, so in the planning we had identified the activities. Remember last week we learned that. So planning and scheduling, which is planning, we identify the activities, and after that scheduling, we actually plan the activities. Okay, put it in the sequence. All right. Okay, the diagram that displays the interrelationship between activities with logical sequence called network diagram. And basic definition in network diagram is a network means diagram represents the relationship of activities to complete a project. So the network may be drawn as ADM or PDM. Later we will learn details on ADM and PDM. And activity, the list of activity that we actually identify in the planning. Activity is the performance of a task required to complete the project, which is required time, cost, or both. And duration is the estimated time required to perform the activity. So total durations mean the longest length is in the critical activity, which is become the total duration of the project. How you want to do the critical path method? First, you need to draw the network diagram, estimate the individual activity time, and analyze the critical activities. So first, activity sequencing. You need to actually do the WBS. How you want to do that? You need to understand the order of how to accomplish job in the field. Step by step, what activity need to be done after the previous activity had finished, okay, to continue the activities. So the planner must understand how various activities of the project relate to each other in terms of their logical sequence. Okay, for example, there are two activity sequencing, which is the predecessor and successor. Predecessor means activity before, okay? A task which its start or finish date determines the start and finish date of its successor task. Activity B, for example. So the predecessor is activity A. So the start and finish date of this activity A will determine the start or finish date of activity B. Okay, A is the predecessor for B. Okay, successor is the activity after. A task which its start finish date is driven by the predecessor task. Okay, so B is the successor for A. So what is critical path? The critical path is the sequence of activities which add up to the longest overall duration. So you have, for example, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay. The longest combination from A to F will become the overall duration. So the longest duration, overall duration, which become the total duration, the estimation duration of the project. Okay, means that that is the shortest time possible to complete the project. If you do not finish within that time, means that your project will be delayed. So any delay on an activity on the critical path directly impacts the planned project completion date. Okay, because the activity on the critical path do not has float or do not has any extra time. Okay, you need to finish within the duration. For example, the critical path is among activity A, C, and F, for example. This is just an example, okay? So if you need to finish activity A within 2 weeks, then you need to finish it within 2 weeks, okay? Because if you delay this even 1 day, means your project will be delayed for 1 day. A project can have several parallel near critical paths and additional parallel paths through the network with the total duration shorter than the critical path is called a subcritical or non-critical path. So critical activity, which activity with no float, zero float. Okay, later we will learn how to calculate the float. Okay, arrow diagram method, we go to arrow diagram method first, which is ADM. All right. In arrow diagram, project tasks or activities are represented by the arrow. So it is on the arrow. This is showing the activity. So the activity is written on the arrow. So that's why arrow diagram method. Okay. And the arrow connected by the node to express their logical relationship from node 1 to node 2. Okay. So this shows that activity A, after activity A finish, then activity B can continue. Okay. So node represents an event. So from starting to end of the activity. Okay. Activity start or end at one node. So this is the activity. Activity node 2, activity start for B, node 3, end activity for activity B. Is showing the relationship which A must finish before B and C can start. So A is the predecessor for B and C. Okay. Both A and B must finish before C can start. Means the predecessor for C is A and B. Okay. Both A and C must finish before either of B or D can start. Okay. Look at the arrow. Means that A and C must finish so that B and D can start. So B and D, the predecessor is A and C. Okay. However, if you have a more complicated relationship to show, you can create dummy. Okay, for example here, because A must finish before B can start. However, A and C must finish before D can start. So therefore, how to do this equation? Okay, if you do not create dummy, it will become, because you cannot have two arrows with same activities. Cannot. One arrow for one activity only. So A must finish before B can start. This is can be done like this, right? Okay. But A and C must finish before D can start. If you put it like this, it will become similar like this one. Okay. Both A and C need to be finished before B and D can start. However, the problems here is only D can start after A and C, but B can start after A finish. So we need to create a dummy to show this relationship. So the dummy here is C. The arrow down to the node. Why arrow down? Means that A and C. Actually, we transfer the A here, but we cannot put similar activity at one arrow. At the second arrow. No, we cannot do this. So what we need to do is create the dummy. Dummy D. Okay. Dummy. So that activity D can start after A and C is finished. If the arrow upward, for example, I put the arrow upward like this, means here is A and C finish, then B can start. If the arrow downward means that A and C finish, D can start. So here, after A finish, B and C can start. Activity B and C can start. So means here, A is the predecessor for B and C. However, here, this example, after A and B finish, then C can start. So C here has two predecessors, which is A and B. And this figure shows that A and C finish, then B and D can start. So for activity B and D, the predecessor is A and C. Arrow diagrams method, number within circle represents the node. So this is the basic rules for network presentation, which is numbers within circle represents the event, the nodes. And time flows from left to right. Left to right means node 1 to node 2. Okay, so this is showing that this is the started of the activity A and this is the end of the activity A. Here, this is the started of activity B and C, and here is the end of activity B, and here is the end of the activity C. Okay, the arrowhead determines the direction of flow between nodes. Okay, which direction that show the relationship, the precedence, the successor activity. For example, here A is the predecessor. Okay, if, okay, let's see here, B and C, the arrow goes there. Okay, A is the predecessor for B and C, or you can say that B and C is the successor for A. Sama je. Okay, so this relationship can be explained by predecessor or successor. Okay, you can say that B and C is the successor for A, or A is the predecessor for B and C. It's actually showing the similar relationship. All right. The description of the activity should be written upon the straight portion of the arrow. In some instance, it is necessary to introduce dummy activities to maintain the logic of the network, because we cannot write two arrows with similar activities. Dummy activities are shown as dotted lines. They have no description and no duration. Okay, because it's created just to show the logical of the relationship between the activities. Okay, activity, for example here, activity C can be carried forward after activity X and W is done. Okay, and activity Y can be carried forward after X is done. Okay, after X finish. Okay, and then activity Y is not depend on Z, because no arrows that connect activity Y with Z. And activity Z also do not depend with Y. No arrows that connect for both activity. Tak ada connection pun. Tak sambung pun arrow dia dekat node ni. For example here, okay, the activity is on arrow. Look at here. So this is showing the activity on fabricated rebar. This is showing the activity on excavated trench, and this is activity on fabricated formwork. Means that here you have three activity that run parallel at your site. Projek tu dia ada 3 aktiviti serentak run. So you will divide your resources, your human resource into 3 group, which is one group will do the fabricated rebar, buat rebar. Second group will excavate the trench, and third group will do the formwork. So after these 3 activities settle, then you can carry forward with the next activity, which is fix formwork. Okay, fix the formwork and then put the rebar. After formwork finish, put the rebar, and then after that pour concrete. So activity on arrow, the node will represent the number, the sequence number of the node, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then this is the early start for activity A. Okay, and the late start for activity A. And note number 2 is the early finish for activity A and late finish for activity A. And below the arrow is the duration. So above the arrow is the name of the activity. So early start is here. We have forward pass and also backward pass. Okay, so early start is A, early finish is C for activity A. Okay, and then C is equal to A plus X, which is the duration. Okay, early start plus the duration, you will get early finish, right? And then E is the early finish of activity B. So how you count E is by adding C plus Y. Y is the duration of activity B. Okay, you will get E. Okay, in backward pass, you will get the late finish or late start. Late finish for A, but late start for B. By minus F minus Y, you will get D. That is backward pass. Okay. And B is D minus X, you will get B. So this is example of aerodiagram method, ADM. It started with activity A, the duration is 3 and no predecessor. Means that no activity that connects before A. Okay, so this is activity A. And then activity B, the predecessor is A. So means that after A here, you got B. This will become node number 2. Node number 2. Okay, and then B, the predecessor is A. Means that after A finish, next is activity B. Okay, and then C, the predecessor of C is B. Okay, so you have here is the C. All right, and then D. D no predecessor means that the D is from the same node because D no predecessor. So D is from node 1 also. Okay, D no predecessor. Okay, similar with A. A pun tak ada predecessor, no predecessor. Means D is from here. Node number 4. This is D. No predecessor. And then E, the predecessor is A. Okay, so means that E also similar with B, which have predecessor A. The F, the predecessor is E and D. E and D. So means that you do not have this node. E and D. Pakai komputer boleh lah. Tarik-tarik je. So we have here. Okay. E and D. So E and D, this the predecessor for F. Means that here is the activity F. And then G, the predecessor is C and F. C and F. So means that, tarik sikit sini. C and F is sharing at the same node. And then you got another activity which is G. So you have 6 nodes. Okay, and then the duration. A, the duration is 3 days. B, the duration is 5 days. C, the duration is 3 days. D, the duration is 4 days. E, the duration is 4 days. F, 10 days. And G, 9 days. Okay. So after that, we need to calculate the forward pass. Okay. How to calculate the forward pass? early start for activity A, and this is early finish for activity A. So you need to calculate that. Early start at node 1 is 0. Okay, dia mesti start dengan 0, kosong. Okay, sebab mula-mula nak start ni. This is the start point. So it start with 0 and then 1, 2, 3 days. Okay, so 0 plus 3 forward pass. 0 plus 3, the duration, you will get 3. So 0 plus 3, you will get 3. Okay. So after that, 3 plus 5, you will get here 8. 8, right? And then after that, you need to follow the arrow, okay? Because when you follow the arrow, then you will not miscalculate. Okay, here, 3 plus 4, okay? You will get 7 here. However, you have 2 arrows coming at node number 4. So if forward pass, you need to select the larger sum. Okay, you has another one arrow which is 0 plus 4, which is equal to 4. So 4 and 7, you need to choose the largest sum, which is 7. Okay, so after that, here you have 2 arrow also coming at node number 5. So you have 8 plus 3, which is 11. Okay, and 7 plus 10 is 17. So 17 is the largest. Okay, and then you put here 17 because 17 is the largest. 17 plus 9, 26. Okay, so the total duration for the projects is 26 days. Okay, this is the total duration of the project. Okay, backward pass. So early finish of activity G is at node number 6, which is 26 days. That means it will take 26 days to complete the project. Therefore, 26 days represent the late finish of the project. Okay, so 26 dekat late finish. So this is early finish, this is late finish. Okay. And then how to calculate this is by deduct. 26 minus 9, you will get 17, which is the late start for activity G or the late finish of activity C and F. Okay, 17. And then 17 minus 3, you get 14. Tengok arrow, dia ada satu je, so no choice. Satu, just only one choice, okay? And then 17 minus 10, which is 7. And then however, look at here. You have more than 2 activities coming out from the node number 2. So you need to select the less, the smaller value. Okay, 14 minus 5 is 9. Okay, and then 7 minus 4 is 3. So the smallest value is 3. So you need to put there 3. Okay, so after that, 3 minus 3 is 0 here. However, you have 2 arrow coming out from here. So 3 minus 3 is 0. Another one is 7 minus 4 is 3. So the smallest value is 0. Okay. Completed. And then how you want to calculate the total float? Total float means the lag time that you have for the activities, extra time. Okay. The total float is calculated by the late finish, okay, late finish minus the duration and the early start. So the total float for activity A is 0. 3 minus 3 equals to 0. And then the total float for activity B is 14 minus 5 minus 3. 14 minus 5 is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. Okay. And then for activity C, 17 minus 3 is 14. 14, 17 minus 3 is 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. Okay. Okay. And then for activity D, 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 minus 0 is 3. For activity E, the total float is 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay. Total float for activity F, 17 minus 10 is 7. 7 minus 7, 0. And total float for activity G, 26 minus 9 is 17. 17 minus 17 is 0. Okay. So total float of 0, the activity with total float of 0 means that is the critical activity. So the critical activity here is A, E, F, and G. So means that for activity A, E, F, and G, you cannot have any delay. If you have delay, then it will give effect to the total duration of the project. The project also will delay. And the total duration is equals to 26 days of the project. Total duration of the project, okay? 26 days. So you can put everything in the table. Okay, you can actually double check the late finish minus the duration and minus the early start, you will get the total float. 14 minus 5 minus 3, you get 6. 17 minus 3 minus 8, you get 6. Okay, betul. 7 minus 4, 3 minus 0, get 3. Okay, so this one is the critical activity. Alright, after that, you can put this into bar chart, which is the critical activity is activity A, E, F, and G. So activity A, E, F, and G, no float. Okay, activity A, 3 days. Okay, 1 to 3 days. So after activity A finish, continue with activity B for 5 days. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, activity B have another 6-day float. Okay, means that you have another extra 6 days. If the activity delay for 2 days, it will not affect the project. If it delays maximum 6 days, it still not affect the project. Okay, boleh delay sampai hari yang ke-6. But after 6 days, you cannot delay anymore. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, floating days. Okay. So activity C, you can see here the duration is 3 and you have 6 days of floating days also. So after activity B finish, actually you can start the activity C for 3 days. 1, 2, 3. However, activity C has 6 days of floating. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similar goes to activity D. Okay. If you see the arrow diagram method, it is showing that activity D started at the same with activity A because D no predecessor. Okay, so it started here. Hari yang sama juga. So activity D, 4 days. You have here 1, 2, 3, 4. And the float is 3. 1, 2, 3. And activity E, no float because it's critical activity 4 days after the, okay, you need to see the ADM. It's showing that activity is here. So after activity A finish, E can start. Okay. However, E do not have any float. Okay. After activity A finish, E can start. After A finish, tengok kat sini. Okay. A finish for 3 days duration. So E can start at the 4th day here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why when you're doing the bar chart, it is more easy if you draw with critical activities first, because the critical activity will be continuously. Okay, A finish, then E can continue. After E finish, then F can continue for 10 days. After F finish, then G can continue for 9 days without any float. The example number 2. Okay, look at here. Activity A and B no predecessor means that at note number 1, you have come up with 2 activity A and B. So activity note number 2 and this one is note number 3, and the activity is A and B. After that, C, the predecessor is A. Okay, daripada A ni, predecessor is C. And the activity is C. The predecessor is A. Okay. Alright. And then look at here. For activity D, the predecessor is B. So you have the activity is D. Okay. The predecessor is B. Okay. After that E, the predecessor is C and D. Okay. Means that C and D is sharing the same node here. Sharing satu node. Okay. Because the predecessor for E is C and D. Okay. So C and D, then we have activity E. And then we have both E and F having the same predecessor, which is C and D. So kita actually ada dua activity come up from note number 4, which is E, and another one is F. And then activity G, the predecessor is E. Okay. And then we have another arrow for activity G. And then activity H, the predecessor is F. So here you have, okay, and then activity H. Okay, so this is the end of the activity. You need to add one more node to close the network. Okay, so you got this. So this is what you get, and then put the duration. So A 2 days, B 3 days, C 3 days, D 4 days, E 3 days, F 2 days, and G 4 days, and H 3 days. Okay. After that, calculate the forward pass. Okay, forward pass. Okay, put here 0. 0 plus 2, 2. Okay. 0 plus 3, 3. And then there are two arrows coming at node number 4. So you have two choices. For 4 pass, choose the biggest value. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 3 plus 4 is 7. So you need to choose the biggest, which is 7. And then 7 plus 3, 10. And 7 plus 2, 9. Okay, and then here 10 plus 4 is 14. And 9 plus 3 is 12. So the biggest value is 14. So 14. So total duration of this project is 14. So the late finish is also 14. Okay, backward pass, 14 minus 4 is 10. So here 14 minus 3 is 11. Okay. So you have two arrows coming out from node number 4. So you have two choices. 10 minus 3 is 7. But backward pass, you need to choose the smallest value. 11 minus 2 is 9. So the smallest value is 7. Okay. And then 7 minus 3 is 4. 7 minus 4 is, and there are two arrows coming up from node number 1. So you have two choices. 4 minus 2 is, 3 minus 3 is 0. You need to choose the smallest value, which is 0. Okay, and then you need to calculate the float. But how you want to determine the critical path? Yang paling senang, the easiest part is you can see they have similar number for early start and early finish and late start and late finish. 0, 0, 3, 3, 7, 7, 10, 10, 14 and 14 means showing that the activities do not have any float. So here you can determine that the critical path is B, D, E, and G. So the critical path is B, D, E, and G, which is no float, no total float, because they have similar number of early start, early finish, late start, and late finish. Okay, but here you need to calculate the float, which is 4 minus 2 minus 0. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. Okay, so A, the total float for A is 2. For C, the total float for C is 7 minus 3 minus 2. 4 minus 2 is 2, right? 7 minus 3 is 4, 4 minus 2 is 2. And then the total float for F is 11 minus 2 is 9. 9 minus 7 is 2. And the total float for H is 14 minus 3, which is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. 14 minus 3 is 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. Always double check. Okay, kalau ada yang tak betul tu double check, tengok betul. Right, and then what you need to do is, okay, we had calculated this, and then put it in the table, and you can double check. And the critical path is BDEG with 0 float. The total duration is equals to 14 days. Next exercise. Activity A, no predecessor. And then after that, activity B, C, D with one predecessor, which is A. Means that the arrow coming out from node number 2 is 3 arrow. Okay, ada 3 arrow, which is for activity B, C, D. Because we have predecessor for B, C, D is A. Okay, and then activity E. And then after that, activity E, the predecessor is B and C. B and C. Okay, so you have B and C. the predecessor for activity A. So how you want to do this? Kalau buat macam ni, boleh buat macam ni. Okay. Saya bagi contoh dulu. You cannot do this because you have both arrow to one node. On the other hand, you have another predecessor for C and D. Boleh tak buat macam ni? Okay. B and C, and then the activity is E. And then after that, contoh ni. After that, you have activity F, the predecessor is C only. So you cannot drag the error from node number 3 because node number 3 combine activity B and C. Okay, tak boleh. So what you need to do is you need to create one dummy to show the relationship for activity E. Okay, this dummy is here. Okay, garis putus-putus ni showing the dummy so that you can have this relationship showing that after B and C finish, then the activity can be carried forward. So the predecessor for E is B and C. The arrow must come down. However, another activity is F. Okay, F is only predecessor is C. Okay, you can rearrange this. Okay, because F only have one predecessor, which is C. If you put F here, it's showing that B and C for predecessor F also. So you need to rearrange. E is here and the arrow is from here to here. When you change the arrow, it shows that B and C is the predecessor for E, but C is predecessor for F. Because the arrow is from here to here. So C combined with C, you get E. So C, you will only have F as the successor. After that, G, the predecessor is C and D. Okay, C and D. So you need to have arrow down. And after C and D finish, then the G can start. So this is also dummy. So the activity is C and D, then G can start. Lastly, you see the H for activity H, the predecessor is EFG, EFG. So you need to combine all this arrow with one node. You will get H. Note terakhir, which is node number 7. And here is H. Understand? This one upward, this one downward, showing that B and C is the predecessor for E and C and D is the predecessor for G. However, C is the predecessor for F, only C. Okay, and then calculate the forward pass. First need to put the duration. A is 2, B is 3, C is 5 days, D is 4, E 2 days, F 3 days, G is 4 days, and H is 2 days. Okay. Okay, forward pass. So 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 3, 5. But you have 2 arrow coming in at not number 3. So you have 5 here. And then 2 plus 5 is 7. Okay, here is 7. So 7 goes up. Here. Ada 2 arrow masuk. So here is 7. Tak ada dummy, no duration, okay? So here is also 7. So the biggest forward pass is 7. So here is 7. Okay. And then 2 plus 5 is 7. Here is also 7, but only one arrow coming in, so tak ada pilihan, just 7. And 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, 6. But you have 2 arrow coming in at node number 5, which is 6 and 7. So the biggest is 7. Forward pass, choose the biggest value. So 7 plus 2, 9. You have 3 arrow coming in, so you have 3 choices. 7 plus 3 is 10. 7 plus 4 is 11. So the biggest is 11. So you put here 11. 11 plus 2 is 13. So backward path, you need to choose the smallest value. So here the total duration is 13 days. So 13 minus 2 is 11. So 11 minus 2, here is only one arrow come out. Okay, so tak ada pilihan lah. Just ada satu pilihan. So 11 minus 2 is 9. Okay, so 11 minus 3 is the node here. You have 3 arrow come up. So you have 3 choices, remember? So 11 minus 4 is 7. So here, the arrow here, because dummy is no duration, is 7. And here is 9. So the choices is between 9, 8 and 7. So the smallest is 7. Because backward, you need to choose the smallest value. So here is 7. Look at here. Note number 2, you have 3 arrows come out. So you have 3 choices also. So 9. Yang ni 9 minus 3 is 6. 7 minus 5 is 7 minus 4 is 3. Smallest is 2. So 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay. So this is actually the early start and early finish, late start and late finish for the activities in this project. Okay. And then you can see here the similar number. It will become your critical path activity, which is, nampak yang ni kan, similar number. Oh, you have one more here. Similar number. You have, okay. How you want to determine this is by doing the graph. After you have determined the critical activity, A, C, G, H. How you want to determine the critical activity is by doing the graph, okay? Or you can also calculate directly. The total float for activity A, 2 minus 2 minus 0 is 0. 9 minus 3 is, here is actually 2. 9 minus 3 is 6 minus 2. 7 minus 5 minus 7 minus 4. 3 minus 2. 11 minus 2 minus 7 to float. 11 minus 3, 8 minus 7, 1 float. 11 minus 4, 1 minus 7, 0 float. Okay. And H, 13 minus 2 is 11, 11 minus 11 is 0. So this one is critical activity, this one is critical activity, and this one is critical activity, and this one is critical activity. That's how we get this path, which is A, C, G, and H. Okay, after this, we go to network diagram on PDM, precedence diagram method, which is activity or node. The difference with ADM is the activity. ADM activity is on the arrow. However, PDM activity is inside the node. The arrow only showing the relationship. Okay, because in PDM we have actually can show more relationship, not just finish to start. Okay, so the rules is time flows from left to right. Dia tak boleh daripada tempat lain, from left to right. Because this is the activity, So this is the activity started. So from left to right. That is the basic rules. Okay, dia tak boleh keluar daripada atas. You cannot put the arrow from here. No, you cannot. Okay, from left to right. Okay, mesti daripada ujung ni. Kalau tak nanti keliru. Because PDM you have start to start, finish to finish. So when you put the arrow from up or above or below, and then it will be very confusing. And then the description of the activity is written on the note. The arrowhead determines the direction of the flow of activities. Okay, for example, here you have 3 activities together: fabricate rebar, excavate trench, and fabricate formwork. So after the activity finished, remember the ADM, we put the number of the name of the activity on the arrow. But here PDM, we put the name of the activity inside the note. That is the difference. We put on the arrow, yang ni. But PDM, we put inside the note. Dalam note, aktiviti yang sama. Inside the note, we have so many information, banyak sangat information. Because on the arrow, we have duration only, right? And we have the early start, late start, and early finish and late finish on the note, left and right. Okay, but in PDM, inside the arrow itself, we have all the information. Okay, the name of the activity is A, and the duration is here above, and we put the total float below the duration, the activity. Okay, and then this is the early start, this is the late start for activity A, and this is the early finish and late finish for activity A. So we have all information for activity A inside one note. Okay, satu note ni semua ada information dia. And the arrow is showing the relationship from, for example, here is finish to start. Okay, finish to start. Mesti daripada tepi, not above or down. It's from the left to right. Okay, so the arrow showing here is finish to start, means that activity B can be done after activity A is finished. Okay, the relationship here on the other hand showing that start to start means that when activity A start, B can also start together. So means that at site dekat project awak ada 2 group together doing activity A and B. Group number 1 doing activity A and group number 2 doing activity B. They started together at the same date at the site. Here showing that activity A and B, the relationship is finish to finish. Mean that when activity A finish, B also finish. Okay, sebab tu dia kena daripada tepi. And here is start to finish. Mean that when activity A start, activity B already finish. Okay. Sebab tu dia penting dia punya start tu, activity arrow tu. Okay, this is showing that, okay, bila ada 5D means that you have 5 days lead. What means lead? Lead is overlap between activity A and B. Overlap. Dia dua-dua berjalan serentak selama 5 hari. Means that on starting from here to here, you need to have 2 group together doing activity A and also activity B. Okay. And the relationship is finish to start. Alright. Means that when activity A is finished, activity B can start. However, it have lead 5 days, means that it can start 5 days before activity A finish. Sebab tu dia FS minus 5 days, showing that activity B can be carry forward, can be start even before activity A finish. It can start earlier 5 days. Boleh mula awal 5 hari sebelum activity A finish, even though the relationship is finish to start. So here is lag. The difference between lead and lag is lead is overlap. 2 activities overlap together. Lag is macam float. Lag macam float dekat ADM, which is you have 2 more days extra for the delay. Okay, so means that activity A is finished to start. The relationship is finished to start. However, you have 2 days left. Means that you have more 2 days to delay the activity A. But still it's finished to start. Okay, means that kalau the duration is, for example, 5 days. Okay, so you can start the activity B when you finish the activity A at the day number 5. However, if you have delay, you can delay 2 more days. You can paling lewat. The late start of activity B will become 7 on the day 7. Okay. Later we will do the example, then we can see the what I mean here. Example number 1. The activity A started. Okay, the duration is 2. We put here 2 duration. And then activity B, the predecessor is A, means that after A finish, then you can carry forward activity B. Okay, for B 6 days, the duration is 6 days. Okay, and then after that, the predecessor for activity C is B. So after B finish, the activity B, C can carry forward. The duration is 6. Okay, but D also having similar predecessor with C, which is B. Okay, so the next activity is D. Okay, daripada B ni keluar anak panah must be from left to right. Okay, dia tak ada keluar ke bawah ke atas. Okay, from left to right, and then D. Okay, with predecessor B. And E, okay, predecessor dia A, means start from here. Ada lagi satu anak panah, keluar lagi satu E. From here, keluar E. Okay. And then F, the predecessor is D and E. D and E, keluar lagi ke satu kat sini. Okay, 2. D and E, predecessor for F. And then G, the predecessor is C, but plus 2. If you do not, if the relationship is not stated, means that all the activity is start to finish. Okay. If it is stated, then you will arrange the arrow based on the stated relationship. If do not stated like this, means the relationship is start to finish. Okay. So C plus 2F means that you have lag 2. Okay, lag. Not lead, but lag. 2 days. Okay. So C, the arrow here, need to have plus 2. Okay. To get this G. The predecessor is C and F. So C and F, but C finish to start plus 2. 2 days and carry forward with activity G. And after that, we need to calculate the forward pass. Okay, forward pass. Untuk forward pass, it started with 0. Okay, and then 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 dia kat sini tak ada duration. It will carry forward here. Okay, 2 plus 6 is 8. Okay, so here anak panah turun bawah kan. So 2 tak ada apa-apa, kosong. Is carry forward here. Okay. 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay. Here, okay. 8 tak ada apa-apa kan. So carry forward here. 8 plus 6 is, tak ada apa-apa kan. So 8 carry forward here. Plus 1 is 9. Okay. Look here. You have plus 2. So you need to have plus 2. 14 plus 2. But you have 2 arrows coming in for node G. So 14 plus 2, 16. Because you want to choose between this arrow and this arrow, which one is the biggest. Okay, 9 here, carry forward. Okay, carry forward, ada 2 arrow coming in. So 9 and 5. So the biggest is 9. So you need to put 9. Forward pass, you need to choose the biggest value. So 9 plus 3, 14. 12. So you have 12 and 16. The biggest is 16. 16 plus 2, 18. Okay, so the total duration for the project is 18. Okay, 18 minus 2 is 16. Okay, 16 carry forward here. And 16 minus 2 is 14. Kena minus dekat sini ya. Bila dia forward pass plus, but backward pass you need to minus. Okay. 14. Okay. 14 minus 6 is 8. So you have two arrow coming out from here. So you have two choices between 8 and here. Okay, 9. 9 minus 1 is 8. Oh, sama juga, 8 juga. So the choice is 8. 8 minus 6 is 2. So two arrows, one is from here, 2. The other one is from here. Okay, this one is 16. So G to F is 16. So 16 minus 3 is 13. Okay, so 13. Kat sini 13. And this one also 13. 13 minus 1 is 12. So here is 12, okay? And 13 minus 13 is 10. Okay, yang ni senang je nak kira total float dia. Tolak dari sini ke sini je. Late start minus early start or late finish minus early finish. You can always double check. Must got similar value. Okay. For example, 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay. 2 minus 2 is 0. 8 minus 8 is also 0. That is the float. 14 minus 14 is 0. 8 minus 8 also 0. Okay. 13 minus 9 is 4. 12 minus 8 is, you got this similar number. Sama. 12 minus 8 is 4. 13 minus 9 is 4 means that your calculation is correct. If you got different number, then you need to recalculate. Ada tu salah lah tu. 10 minus 2 is 8. 13 minus 5 is 8 juga. So 13 minus 9 is 4. 16 minus 12 is also 4. 16 minus 16 is 0. 18 minus 18 also 0. Okay. From here, then you can determine critical path. Okay, yang 0, 0, 0, 0 ni semua critical path. So the critical path is here. So the critical activity is A, B, C, and G. A, B, C, G. But if the question asks you to do in tables, you need to write it in tables. So the total duration is 18 days and the critical path activity is A, B, C, F, G. Okay, example number 2. Activity A, no predecessor. So we start with activity A. Alright. And then activity B, the predecessor is A. Means that, and activity C, the predecessor is B. And see here, activity D also the predecessor is B. Means that there are two activities coming out from node B. Kita ada dua sebenarnya activity yang sharing same predecessor which is C and D. So you have here activity C, activity D. And then after that activity E, the predecessor is A. Means that ada lagi satu kat sini is the activity E. F, the predecessor is C and D. Okay, so you have other one is from here to here. So activity C and D, the predecessor for F. And then activity G, the predecessor is F. So here we have G. H, the predecessor is E. E. And I, G, and H. And then we calculate the forward pass and backward pass. 0 plus 10 is 10. And then 10 carry forward here. Tengok dia punya anak panah. 10 is also here. Okay. You need to see the arrow. Okay. 10 plus 11 is 21. So 21 is here. Look at the arrow. 21 also here. Okay. 21 plus 5 is 26. And 21 plus 4 is 25. So there are two arrows coming in node F. So you have two choices between 26 and 25. So the biggest is 26. 26. And 26 plus 3 is 29. One arrow coming in only, so carry forward 29. 29 plus 7 is 36. 10 plus 12 is 22. Okay, one arrow coming. So tak ada ni. 22 plus 11 is 33. So there are two arrows coming in at node I. So 36 and 33. So 36 is the biggest. So 36 plus 4 is 40. So the total duration of this project is 40. Okay, 40 minus 4. Okay, here the duration. This is I, not 1. Okay, 40 minus 4 is 36. Okay, so 36 naik atas. One arrow only. So here is also one arrow only. So 36. So 36 minus 7 is 29 pun satu arrow je. Okay, 29 minus 3 is 26. Okay, there are two arrows. So 26 here and 26 here also. Okay. Satu arrow masuk je, so dia tak ada pilihan. 26 minus 5 is 21. But two arrows coming out from node B, okay? So 21, and then this one 26 minus 4, 22. But the smallest value for backward pass is 21. 21. 21 minus 11 is 10. So two arrows coming out, so you have two choices, which is 36 minus 11 is 25. Okay, so 25 here. 25 minus 12 is 13. 13 and 10, the smallest value is 10. So 10 here. 10 minus 10 is 0. Then kita kira dia punya float. 10 minus 10 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. 10 minus 10 ni pun sama 0. Sebab nombor dia sama. 21, ya, senang je kan. Tengok yang nombor sama ni memang the float is 0 lah. Okay. But this one, 26 minus 25 is 1. 22 minus 21 also 1. 25 minus 22 is 3. 13 minus 10 is 3. Okay. And 36 minus 33 is 3. 35 minus 22 also 3. Kita dah double check. And this means that the critical activity is A, B, C, F, G, and I. And the critical path is here. A, B, C, F, G, I. Next example. Activity A, no predecessor. So we start with activity A. Alright. And then activity B, we have three predecessors, which is A, C, and D. Okay, so we do step by step. So we have A node already. So activity B can start after activity A finish to start with 2 days lag. Okay, plus 2 means lag. Kalau minus 2 means lead. Okay, dia yang bertindan tu. Finish to start from left to right. Finish to start. Because we do not have any activity C and C and D yet. Okay, so kita buat C dulu kat sini. Okay, the activity C, the predecessor is A. Letak kat sini. We have finish to start 2 days. And then we have activity C, which is the predecessor is A. Okay, means that from node A, we have another activity, which is C. Activity C, the predecessor is A. And the relationship is finish to start. Okay, after that, you can actually link the predecessor for activity B. Sebab C dah ada ni. Finish to finish plus 1. Means that activity B finish, activity C also finish with lag 1 day. Finish to finish. Okay, finish to finish means that when activity C finish, activity B also finish with lag time. You can also just put +1 because the arrow already mentioned the relationship which is finish to finish. Okay, here you can put +2 because the arrow showing finish to start. Okay, and then the next predecessor is D, tapi kita belum buat D, so we need to do the D first. The D is, predecessor is C with start to start. Means that D start to start. Sini start and D also start. Means that when C start, D is start. Okay, so we can do this relationship for activity B, which is D finish to finish. One more kat sini, finish to finish. And then here. Okay, finish to finish. This is the example of the complicated relationship, which is activity B have 3 predecessor, which is A, finish to start 2, and C, finish to finish 1, and D, finish to finish. You can calculate the forward pass and backward pass. 0 plus 2, you need to have another 2 plus, you got 4, and 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay, and then 2 plus 2 is 4, and then here, okay, look at here, the arrow is coming from here, so 2 here will be carry forward also here, 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, and then the backward pass is from here, 7. The last note kan. 7 minus 3 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2 here. Pilihan. Okay, so look at the arrow. 7 minus 1 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. And here 7 carry forward. Kat sini 7. 7 minus 1 is 6. Okay. And then 6 carry forward dekat sini. Dia ada 2 anak panah. Okay, look at here. There are 2 arrows coming out from here, which is this one 6 and this one 7 minus 1 also 6 sama. So inilah 6. Pilihan dia sama. So 6 minus 2 is 4. So 4 arrow coming out from here. 4. So the choice is 2. The smallest 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. How you want to determine the critical path is by sama kan nombor dia 2 tolak 2 kosong, 7 minus 7 also 0. So this is the critical path which is A and B. A and B. So this is the critical path. And here, yang ni macam mana nak kira dia punya float. 6 minus 4 is 2. 4 minus 2 is also 2. Okay. 7 minus 3 is 4. 6 minus 2 is also 4. So this is the comparison between ADM and PDM, which is ADM, the arrow, the activity is on arrow, while PDM is the activity is on node, and everything information inside the node. Okay. On the other hand, in ADM, the activity, the event showing the information of early start, late start, early finish, and also late finish, and also the duration is also under the arrow. Okay, the node, everything inside the node. Okay, all right, and this is calculation to actually calculate the early finish. So early finish equals to early start plus duration, and late finish is late finish minus the duration. And total float, you know already, you can actually calculate directly from the late finish minus early finish, and also late start minus early start. Okay, so this is the activity showing relationship between activity A and B, which is A is the predecessor for activity B. Okay, and here also showing the similar relationship, which is A is the predecessor for activity B and C is the successor for activity B. And in ADM, the relationship only finish to start. However, in PDM, we have finish to start, finish to finish, start to start, and also start to finish. We have 4 relationship compared to ADM, only 1 relationship. That's why in ADM, we have dummy, because complicated relationship need to have dummy so that we can have the real relationship, to show the real relationship, okay? And the critical path error is with float 0, okay? So that's why only ADM have dummy activity, but no dummy activity in PDM, because in PDM already have 4 relationship. So this is false, okay? You cannot put it 2 activity together joining at one node. Okay, tak boleh 2 activity. Macam yang saya buat contoh tadi kan. Kalau buat macam tu jadi tak, saya cakap. Okay, you cannot do it 2 activity together join at one node. So you need to have create one more dummy. Okay, sama juga kat sini. Alright. So same here. That's why you need to create one more dummy, because you cannot have 3 activity. Okay, PQR 3 activity coming out and in at one node. Okay, kena ada 3 dummy. Kena ada dummy to show the relationship. So this is an example of writing up the dummy. Okay, and you need to calculate using estimating duration using forward pass and backward pass. So forward pass, you need to, if you have more than 1 arrow, you need to choose the biggest value. Backward pass, you need to choose the smallest value. Okay, since we have actually exceed our time, so next week I will continue with this linear scheduling, line of balance. Okay, but I want you to actually doing this activity, okay, so that you can discuss with me next week if you don't get the answer. Okay, number 2, two activities, and the other one PDM yang last example tu. Okay, yang tu pun buat sendiri. Next week we will discuss together.